This is Heaven is Real, but So is Hell. Join us as we journey through the extraordinary life of Vassula Rydén and her supernatural encounters with the divine realm.
Chapter 3. The Dark Night. I was overjoyed in this revelation, and over the coming days, my communications with God felt like those early days of infatuation when new lovers cannot get enough of each other. I wanted to be with Him constantly, and nothing else seemed to matter. It was bliss. Then, without any warning, all communication with God and my angel abruptly stopped. It was as if someone just turned off the light, and suddenly I found myself sitting in utter darkness. Although I was still surrounded by family and friends, I had never felt so alone and miserable. The presence of God and my angel were no longer with me. I called out to them, but they did not respond. I truly felt that He had deliberately shut heaven and dragged me out into a desert to roast in my loneliness. In fear and misery, I never stopped calling my angel, but he too had abandoned me. Our tennis club was preparing the yearly tournament, so I participated, but my usual keenness and happiness were totally missing when I played. I thought, are these God's methods? Does He approach to seduce us? Then, once seduced, He kicks us out? At a later date, I understood why God drags a soul to the desert. These are His words.
I come to break in splinters the doors of your dungeons, and with my flame melt your chains of sin. I come to free you from your captivity and your iniquity, and end up your debaucheries. I mean to save you, generation, even if I must drag you all the way to the desert and speak to you, showing you your aridity and how your whole body is filled up with darkness. I shall do it to save you. Ah, creation, what will I not do for you?
I tried to place recent events of my life in order, to make sense of what was happening. At first, to draw my attention and curiosity, God had sent my angel. Then, He made me hear heaven's melodies, giving me a glimpse of His celestial, angelic host in His abode. And when I rejoiced in what I saw, He dragged me out of the mud, and without wasting time, He charmed me. Then, without hesitation, He roasted me in the first spiritual fire, only to cast me out immediately with my open blisters in the desert, disappearing together with my angel and shutting heaven, altogether abandoning me in the terrifying silence of the desert to suffer and moan alone, ignoring my desperation, ignoring my agony and my distress. Now, from His hiding place, He watched and waited in silence for my wailings of surrender. What have I done that you shy away from me like this? Just as I was opening my heart to you, my God, you ran away and hid. He did not reply. I wanted to be delivered, but now in this desert, I was surrounded only by shadows and phantasms, lifeless things that do not satisfy the soul. I turned on every side looking for him, and then looking for my angel, but found neither of them. For 3 weeks, I wandered in this desert, between the flesh and the spirit, feeling more dead than alive. Then, a strange thing happened. As I was experiencing this death, I suddenly sensed the souls of the dead again, for the first time in many years. I saw their gray bodies, like shadows approaching me, creeping slowly out of a fog. In no time, they had surrounded me. I realized that my spirit had been drawn into the place of the dead, purgatory. The purgatory of my separation from God had brought me to this purgatory of the departed, where they too suffer from separation from God, while they journey toward Him through a period of purification. As I journeyed into purgatory, my attention focused not on my surroundings, but on the departed souls themselves, males and females, indistinguishable one from the other, roaming in large crowds. They all looked alike because of their suffering, sorrowful countenance. When they spotted me, they rushed towards me. Like beggars do, they clung onto me. Some voluntarily giving me their name. I recognized one of them, who desperately asked me for help. He had been a very distinguished and famous personality while on earth, much admired by the world. I then realized that fame, prestige, riches, and glamour are only temporary things that one might enjoy for a while on earth, but they do not lead us to paradise. Other souls approached me who had given me many problems and sorrows while on earth. They gave me their names, asking me to forgive them and to pray for them. I would later learn how important it is not to keep a grudge against those who have died. In a mysterious way, we hold them back, and they suffer if we do not forgive them. We keep them from the higher realms. They seem to remain chained and do not reach heaven. We must forgive them. As these souls surrounded me and begged for prayers, in spite of my utter helplessness, with painful effort, I did as they asked. Then, all of a sudden, as though with one voice, the souls exhorted me to sprinkle them with holy water. Completely taken aback, I asked, "Holy water? What for?" "Just do it for us, please." I sighed, not quite understanding. Just as I was asking myself where I could find holy water, they all cried out, "Go to the church to get some for us." It was as though they had read my thoughts. I was really in no state to go to fetch holy water from the nearby church. Why do they want holy water? I was perplexed. But they begged me even more. And as I realized they would not leave me alone, I dragged myself out to the road and walked to the church across from our house. There, I found a priest and rushed over and asked him, "Can I please have some holy water to take home? There are those souls, you know, the dead, who want me to sprinkle some water on them." I waited for him to fall apart, laughing at me, but at that stage of my suffering, I really didn't care what he thought. I was surprised when instead he said, "All right, I'll give you some. It is in our Catholic tradition to do so." He gave me a small bottle containing holy water, and I walked home briskly to face the souls. Logically, I could not see how to do this. Here I was, experiencing the souls of dead people, immaterial, just spirit. How was I going to sprinkle water on them, physical water that would fall to the ground. So I asked, "How am I to sprinkle water on you, since you are immaterial spirits?" "Sprinkle the water on us, with the intention that it is for us," they answered. So I did just that. Have they physically materialized, I would have been crushed in a stampede. Crowds came rushing towards me, wanting one simple drop of holy water to fall on them. I had plenty, so I continued sprinkling and sprinkling. For a moment, it seemed as though all of purgatory was stampeding towards me to receive just a drop of this holy water. And to my amazement, I saw many of them whooshing upwards, like shooting stars, being sucked up towards heaven. They were so happy. The funny thing was, as these souls were being relieved of their sufferings, I was still enduring the pain of feeling abandoned by God. Of course, I took advantage of their presence to ask them if they had seen my angel or the one that I had begun to love to folly, but they would give me no reply, and dissipated in the fog just as they had appeared. Perhaps God had allowed me to feel how the souls that are in purgatory suffer from being separated from God. Whatever the reason, my spiritual drought continued. Every day that passed seemed like a year. Despite the busy world around me, I continued to feel desperately alone. I continued to cry out, but my voice only echoed back to me. Finally, I could bear it no longer. I wailed pathetically like a newborn baby. I raised my eyes towards heaven, and with all my might, I cried out, surrendering, "Father, where are you? Why did you leave me? Take me and do with me as you wish. Purify me and use me if this is your wish." I finally abandoned myself entirely to His will. And then, in the blink of an eye, heaven opened, and a voice full of emotion cried,
I, God, love you. Come. Let me rejoice always hearing these words of total surrender.
These words were like a balm pouring on these impressive wounds my soul had received in the desert, healing me instantly. Like a bolt of lightning shot out from heaven, God descended with delight to reach me and raise me to His heart. Then, as swift as an arrow, He cast me out once more from His embrace into the messy world we are in. At the same time, however, God compensated me by opening the gates to heaven, allowing me access to His inner courts to step in and out any time I wished. Having surrendered thus to God, my soul, freshly filled with heavenly dew, praised Him. I glorified Him with such words. Yahweh visited me. Like a gust of wind, His Spirit lifted me and showed me His countenance. He revealed to me tenderness, love, and infinite goodness. He then showered me with blessings and offered me manna in abundance to share it with my brothers. He walked with me in the land of oblivion. From down among the dead, He took me. Among those who have forgotten Him, He raised me, restoring the memory of my soul. O Lord, Yahweh, how grateful I am. May your sweetness, O Lord, be on us all. Blessed be Yahweh forever and ever. January 16, 1992. When I finally accepted to live God's law of love, putting God first in my life, and living a true life in Him, the Lord approached me and revealed to me as well as to the whole world, the depth of his jealous love.
I love you to jealousy. I want you all mine. I want everything you do to be for me. I do not tolerate rivals. I want you to worship me and live for me. Breathe for me. Love for me. Eat for me. Smile for me. Immolate yourself for me. Everything you will do it for me. I want to consume you. I want to inflame you, desiring me only. Adorn me with your petals, my flower. Crown me with your love. Fragrance me with your fragrance. Allow me to educate you and strengthen you. I want to form you into my barefoot athlete, to race with me around the world, to go to my people and wake them up from their lethargy, pull the dead from their graves, and turn them into cathedrals.
Wow, I exclaimed. This is serious. Are we that bad? Dead? Putrefying? I mean, decomposing like rotten fruit? Is this true? Is this a warning? Is this why God speaks? I knew that when He talked to me, He talked to each one of us. Even I, in my spiritual immaturity, knew that God would not take the trouble to come and speak to us unless things were really disastrous and the world was really in bad shape. He would not just come nonchalantly with His hands behind His back to ask us, "Hello, creatures, how are things today? All well with you, eh? Need anything? Just give me a call. I'm right here." God made me feel right in the middle of my heart that He is giving us a last chance to shape up. If we don't, He will ship us all out. Then, on December 15, 1986, as if it were nothing, God asked me,
Daughter, do you want wisdom?
"Yes." Not realizing the value of what was being offered, I simply replied, "Yes." But then I came to my senses. Wisdom? Wasn't that the gift of Solomon? When God saw that I understood what he was offering, He said,
You will have to acquire wisdom, but I will help you.
I saw that I would have to earn it. I did not know how, but God had said that He would help me. Much later, I understood that wisdom needs self-sacrifice, self-giving, immolation, accepting criticism, even to be beaten black and blue without uttering a complaint, and following God's will. God's generosity did not stop there, for He said,
I will give you the gift of discernment, the gift of fortitude, and the gift of knowledge. I will give you all these gifts so long as you follow me and do my will.
The marathon with God was just starting. My angel had said I was going to be educated by God Himself in His celestial courts to bear witness to an unbelieving world, a dying world. He said I would be racing like an athlete, without stopping and without resting. I knew then that I would have to rely on God's armor, for it would not be against human enemies that I would have to struggle, but against the sovereignties and the powers who originate the darkness in this world, the spiritual army of evil in the heavens. Ephesians 6:12-13. The race began.
You just listened to Heaven is Real, but So is Hell. Join us tomorrow for a new episode.